I'm going to go to my agenda so that I'm not distracted by looking at everyone. Okay. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the May 27th, 2020 meeting of the Rotterdam Town Board. And so I would ask, as we go into the meeting here, if those of you who are not, when you're not speaking, if you could mute your phones. If you are speaking, obviously, turn the mic back on. But if you don't mind doing that, that would be very helpful to us as we conduct the meeting here tonight. And forgive us as we, particularly me, I'll say, may take a little bit extra time here switching between screens and so on. It's still all new. I have one screen, not two or three, so I've got to juggle. But we'll call the meeting to order. Ms. Marco, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Christo?
Present.
Mr. Guidarelli?
Present.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Present.
Mr. Signor?
Present.
Mr. Thomasone?
Present.
5 present.
Okay, would everybody stand, please? Steve, if you would lead us in the pledge, please.
Yes. Pledge allegiance to the
Flag.
United States of
America.
to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. So under supervisor's report, although nothing is listed there, I'm going to ask first for council member Signor to just read through a notice that we do have on our town website and is posted at the entrance doors to town hall. So Steve, would you mind reading that?
Yes, certainly. Beginning Tuesday, May 26, 2020, Town of Rotterdam will have limited staff available for service by appointment only at the front of Town Hall located at 1100 Sunrise Boulevard. Please call 518-355-7575 and the appropriate office listed to schedule an appointment for service. And here are some of the department extensions. If you need to reach the assessor, dial 396. If you need to reach the comptroller, dial 394. If you need to reach Public Works, dial 395. If you need to reach the Senior Center, also dial 395. Reach the supervisor, dial 393. Receiver of taxes, 392. And the town clerk, 352. And please note that face masks are mandatory. Upon arrival, please use sanitizer provided and ring the outside bell located to the front of our main doors. Thank you very much. And please call the appropriate department below to make an appointment at their office. And that's for the highway, call 355-7722. Justice Court, 595, or call 518-355-7911. And the police department, 201, 202, or 514. And emergencies, please call 911. Non-emergencies, please call 518-630-0911. And once again, these is on our website and posted on the front door.
Thank you very much. Also, with the situation that we have been enduring now for the past few months, we have recognized in our water employees have recognized, particularly since this past weekend, during Memorial Day weekend. And first of all, thanks to everyone who has served, and in particular, we recognize the date as a date for which we remember those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. So there were a few events. We obviously did not have an event here at Town Hall. I want everyone to know that. There was an event in Schenectady. Hopefully, once we're able to gather in larger numbers, we will have some events here at Town Hall and dial back some of these dates as far as the ability to recognize people and to remember some of these important dates and in particular holidays that we at times celebrate and at times we think about people that have gone before us for one reason or another. So I just want to just say that. But what happened this past weekend and into the week here with the warmer weather and also the people being home to take care of their yards and their pools and everything, the water levels started dropping a bit in our tanks. And so what we're going to implement here, and this will be also put into an ad, if you will, in the newspaper at some point, either this week, if you will, or into early next week. We'll get this out. But wanted to use tonight and use today as a date to kind of start it, and hopefully people will see it online. Also, see this meeting on the web, on television. But we're asking for no unnecessary outside use of water. So the obvious thing is just think about what you're doing before you use it. Lawn sprinkling will be allowed by property address numbers. So we're going to go back to this a little bit for a period of time. So odd number addresses may lawn sprinkle on odd days, and even number addresses obviously may conduct lawn sprinkling on even calendar days. And then as far as the times, what we're asking is this, and so this is a little bit of a change, but there's a reason for this, and I'll go a little bit more into it in a moment. So for non-automatic lawn sprinkling systems, so in other words, you're using your sprinkler, you're having to hook it up in the evening or hook it up during the day before you go to work. Or we're asking that from now through the end of August, if you would not, again, we have the 4-hour restriction, but for those people who have to manually set their lawn sprinklers in place, that you sprinkle each day from 6:30. So it's a change. Usually it's the simple thing, right? 7 to 9, 7 to 9. We're going to change that a little bit. Ask you to sprinkle from 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. and from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And the reason for that is frankly usage, and what we've seen in the tanks as far as usage during those times, and also anticipating that people will be returning to work in the near future here, and the 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. time in particular, most people are on their way to work way before 9 a.m. So if we dial back a little bit and go 6:30 to 8:30, accommodates people to be able to turn it on and turn it off before they go to work. And then the 8 to 10 p.m. is same reasons there, because of the daylight being what it is. We still have daylight here. We're just a little after 7. It doesn't get dark until after 8 o'clock. So to ask people to modify their sprinkling a bit. And so again, those people who have to manually set up their lawn sprinkling systems, we're asking 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. and 8 to 10 p.m. 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Again, whether your property address is odd or even, to do that. Then for those of us, which I happen to have an automatic lawn sprinkling system, that was a requirement for me to go back to my home. Just kidding. Because I was not good at setting up the lawn sprinkler. We have a big yard, and my wife likes sprinkling grass. So we have an automatic lawn sprinkling system. And so this is the other part of it, is that obviously those, they go on automatically. So when is best to have those go on? What we're asking is for people, again, not to exceed 4 hours, and to do so in the evening and overnight. So set your lawn sprinkling systems for 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. if you could do that. That again would allow us to have the time to have the tanks at the appropriate levels, and we're not taxing, if you will, or using water all at the same time, and that would help us. And again, same thing with lawn sprinkling, odd number addresses on odd days and even number addresses on even days. So there's a few things that work here. One of them is that with the situation that we had started the process of rehabbing our May Avenue tank, and that tank is still being painted and repaired. And that's a 2 million gallon tank. That tank is located off of Hamburg Street, and that tank is out of service until it's painted. Once the painting on the inside is complete and approved, then the exterior has to be painted. We can't fill the tank until the paint is complete on the exterior and as well as the interior. But on the exterior. Once that painting is complete, then they'll fill the tank and I think drain it and fill it again. And then we have to test the water. There's a number of tests that happen, quality tests and tests that occur for some time. And whether that's a 7-day period, 10-day period, I just don't recollect the number. But that also takes a couple of weeks because it's not just testing, but we have to get those results back to the town. And so that all has to be reviewed internally here. And so by our town employees and also by the engineer who is working, an engineering firm that's helping us with this rehab. So there's a lot to it. So we're asking for these restrictions through August 31. One of the things that came up today, we did, just sort of for full disclosure to everybody, we did have a conversation also with the town of Guildland because they are drawing water from us. They don't have to draw as much right now. We had a conversation with them about that today. We're working with them also. They already have water restrictions in place for some time now. They do the same kind of thing with the odd and even and the overnight, which works better for them too, and it works better for all of us because frankly, the less time we have to takes to fill the tanks, it's less costly to us too, as far as those of us who are in water 5 in particular. Water 3, which is out in the junction, is fine. There's no issues there at all. So just to let everyone know, there's, there we still ask you to take into account the, measures of not using unnecessary outside use of the water, but they're not under any restriction in water 3 in the junction. So with that, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Well, on top of it, people just being home, right? We're all home. We're using our water probably a lot more frequently than we would if we weren't home. We go to work, we're using water resources in those other municipalities or other areas. I can tell you that we're making less trips to the store, so we're not buying as many things to drink. We're drinking more water even in our house. So I think all these things are part of the culmination of matters here. So we'll have this posted, but I wanted to announce it tonight. And we'll continue on with the meeting here. We have a public hearing this evening. So Ms. Marco, would you read the public hearing, please?
To accept the map, plan, and report for the proposed Sewer District 7 Extension 3.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Lanero, I know that you're here. And,
Yes.
You'd like to give us a presentation. Is there anyone that called into the public comment privilege of the floor at all, or for the public hearing, just so I know ahead of time, Ms. Marco?
I don't have anybody, but what is that 054 person? I don't know who that is.
I don't know. Let's see here. It's a 315 number. I don't. Excuse me.
This is Farouk Hito. I am the property manager at Holly Manor Apartments.
Okay. Would you mind muting your phone? Did you want to speak tonight on the public hearing?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. So no, anyone else for the public hearing this evening? Just so I know ahead of time, so I'm not.
Nope.
No? Okay. All right, so let's go into it. Joe, thank you very much for your patience. Appreciate you being here to run us through this.
Sure. So I will share my screen and start the presentation. Good evening. My name is Joe Lenaro with the Chasing Companies, and tonight's public hearing relates to Sewer District number 7, extension number 3, referred to as Curry Road East and West. The need for extending the Sewer District 7 it has been an ongoing process in the town of Rotterdam, experiencing needs for extending the sewer district, first with extension 1, then with extension 2, which is currently in design, and now we're looking at extension number 3. The primary corridors that are included in Sewer District 7 and its extensions include Hamburg Street, Carmen Road, Curry Road, and their associated side streets. These neighborhoods are primarily serviced by on-site subsurface disposal systems or septic systems. One of the characteristics of these communities is the average lot sizes are very small, placing individual septic systems in close proximity to one another relative to lot by lot, and also in close proximity to stormwater recharge systems or drainage systems that can potentially adversely affect the performance of subsurface disposal systems. Also, there is a demand for commercial and residential growth and or redevelopment, which requires predictable municipal service. The ongoing need has a couple of characteristics that influence the needs of the project. Existing septic systems in the subject area have represented a possible negative influence on local groundwater resources, including the Schenectady Niskayuna sole source aquifer. Extension number 2, the Carmen Road Sewer District Extension, won an EFC Environmental Facilities Corp. WIA grant for $533,000 of net eligible costs, in part due to the negative influence these aging on-site subsurface disposal systems have on groundwater resources. The EPA map indicates all of Extension 3 is located above the Schenectady Niskayuna sole source aquifer. So there is a potential for grant opportunities with this extension as well. And we have been engaged by the town to prepare a grant application for that purpose. Presently, the Hamburg Street Sewer District was created in 2016 and construction completed as a betterment to the New York State DOT improvements on Hamburg Street. The sewer district provides municipal sewer service to properties along Hamburg Street and is currently connected and discharging into the City of Schenectady's municipal system. Currently, the Hamburg Street system has an average day use of about 37,200 gallons per day with a peak flow of 136 gallons per minute. The 4th Street pump station, which is part of the sewer district, is operating at a capacity of 200 gallons per minute. And there is a force main that connects into the city system that has a capacity of over 500 gallons per minute. So that pump station can be upgraded as necessary for accepting additional flows that could be discharged to the city system. Currently, we're working on Extension 2, the Carmen Road extension. The design phase is substantially complete, and the plans have been submitted to the New York State Department of Transportation for approval, as well as the EFC and DEC for regulatory approvals of the sewer infrastructure. Existing provisions have been made for other extensions, including Extension 1, Western Pines, which would connect into the terminus of Extension 2. And this map plan report describes Extension 3, which is broken down into Extension 3A, which is Curry Road East, and Extension 3B, which is Curry Road West. As part of Extension number 2, there's a pump station that would be constructed at the Metro 10 property, and that will be referred to as the Carmen Road Pump Station. That pump station is being sized to accommodate peak flows from Extension number 1, which is an equalized flow coming from the Whispering Pines development, as well as Extension 2 flows and the Extension 3A Curry Road East future extension. As part of the Extension 2 project, the 4th Street Pump Station on Hamburg Street will be upgraded to realize the full operating capacity of the system, being the 6 force main and a capacity of over 500 gallons per minute. We've included some maps in our presentation just to help people understand what currently exists and where the extensions are going. This map represents the sewer district number 7, the Hamburg Street sewer. It basically runs the entire length of Hamburg Street from just beyond the from the railroad bridge crossing all the way down to the roundabout. And as you can see, all these properties are fronting on Hamburg Street and they all have access to sewer. This map represents Extension 2. So Extension 1 would be terminating here. This location is this location. And Extension 2 is just a continuation of that down Carmen Road and includes all of the properties fronting on Carmen Road, as well as Morrow Lane and into this development. Whispering Pines is on the opposite side of the thruway and would have a pump station that has a force main that is directionally drilled under the thruway and then ties in at the terminus of the gravity sewer at this location. Extension 3A, Curry Road East, will serve parcels of land approximately from the I-90 off-ramp along Curry Road to the roundabout intersection with Carmen Road. It will primarily flow by gravity, ultimately discharging to the Carmen Road pump station on the Metro 10 property. The southeastern commercial properties will connect to a low-pressure sewer system that will discharge to the gravity system. Services for each of these parcels will be by gravity or in certain cases by individual grinder pumps. There is a manhole that will be included in extension 2 that will allow this project to be extended by gravity into 3A. Extension number 2, Carmen Road pump station, is designed to accommodate the peak flows from extension 3A. So sewage will discharge to the southern extent of the recently installed Hamburg Street sewer. This is a map that helps show the extents of the 3A portion of the property. This is the I-890 ramp and Curry Road, and you can see the parcels in green. These parcels here are in existing District 7 and Extension 2. And if I just go back, so this is 3A, and then 3B is this way. Continuing on, proposed extension 3B, Curry Road West. It will serve properties approximately from the Fort Hunter Road intersection along Curry Road to the roundabout intersection with Carmen Road. There will be 2 gravity sewer systems that will flow to a common pump station. The 2 gravity sewer systems essentially split the extension 3B into two halves, a northern half which flows to the southeast and a southern half that flows to the northwest to a common manhole. There is a proposed pump station on a parcel owned by Rotterdam Partners, LP, with a proposed force main to be constructed on the existing easement held by the town over the property owned by St. Gabriel, the Archangel Roman Catholic Church. The pump station would convey sewage to the existing Hamburg Street sewer pump station, pump station via gravity sewers. So this is just a map of the District 3. So Fort Hunter intersection with Curry. This is the roundabout. So the gravity sewer would start here and come to this point, start here and come to this point, run along the property line to a pump station, and then a force main that would go across the properties of the church and tie into a connection that was provided for in the Hamburg Street sewer project when it was built under the DOT betterment agreement. So estimated project costs, the estimated cost for the entire project is $3,719,000. It's broken up into extension 3A, which is $1,047,000, and extension 3B, which is $2,672,000. The town would finance the cost through bans and bonds. Initially 1-year bans, bond anticipation notes, and ultimately converted to a long-term bond. Right now, the computations for this map plan report consider the full amount being bonded as though the grant had not been realized. And as mentioned earlier, a grant will be applied for and will hopefully be successfully realized by the town, which will reduce the capital cost. So how will costs be shared? Each parcel in the extension will be considered a dedicated equivalent dwelling unit. Each equivalent dwelling unit will have a debt retirement component, an operation and maintenance component, and a wastewater treatment cost component. The debt retirement methodology is a common methodology used by the town and all of its existing districts and extensions. So a point to make, extension 3A and 3B will realize some benefits from installed infrastructure in District 7 and in certain cases extension 2. And as part of realizing those benefits, they'll be sharing in some of the debt retirement of those underlying districts and related extensions. So to simplify what the EDU formula represents, a single family residential parcel is assigned 1 EDU. Multi-family residential properties or apartments will receive 1 EDU per dwelling unit, or 1 EDU per 75,000 gallons of annual water consumption. Consumption is correlated to wastewater generation, so that metered water use is a proportional figure. Commercial industrial users would have 1 EDU per 75,000 gallons of annual water consumption, and vacant properties will also be realizing a benefit of 1 EDU. So as they're eventually developed, the reallocated EDUs would be based on usage. In Sewer District 7 Extension 3A, Curry Road East, there are several properties. They're all listed by tax parcel and owner name, and their EDUs are assigned based upon their current water consumption and or occupancy. There are 68 EDUs in Extension 3A, and all of those would receive service with the exception of one parcel, which is vacant. The properties in EDUs for Extension 3B, there are 122 EDUs in the Extension 3B area. It is noted that there is a parcel that was recently rezoned, which would include an additional 66 units. So I believe that brings us up to 168 EDUs in that district. So how will the costs be distributed? So in Extension 3A, the construction cost is $1,047,000. So considering a 30-year loan at 3.5% interest, there is an annual debt retirement component of $838. In addition to that, there are some shared costs for District 3A with the Extension 2 where it ties into, and then ultimately District 7. So when you add those components, you have the $838 for the principal retirement of debt and interest. And then there's $162 for Extension 2 and $144 for Extension 1 for a total of $1,144 annually per EDU. When you roll all this up, you also have to include the operation and maintenance cost, which is $42, and then the treatment cost, which would be $248. So the total annual user cost would be $1,434 per EDU per year. Within Extension 3B, the estimated construction cost is $2,672,000. So again, using a 30-year loan at 3.5% interest, the debt retirement component, principal and interest payment per EDU is $773 per EDU. This district will share only in extension, the underlying District 7. So you have $773 for the principal and interest payment for the new construction, and then a proportional share of $162 per EDU for the contributions to District 7, or $935 annually. So adding the other elements of $42 per year for O&M and $248 for treatment costs at the City of Schenectady's plant, the annual user cost is $1,225 per EDU. And again, these are before the town realizes any grants that may reduce the overall cost of the project. One item to point out is as these districts are as the district is being extended, the debt retirement of the underlying districts also get reduced because the cost sharing is then dispersed by all the extensions. So there's a redistribution of annual costs for the Hamburg Street and Whispering Pines underlying district and extension, and the costs currently are $489. They will be reduced to $452, and then the redistributed annual cost for Carmen Road was $842, and this is extension 2. That would be reduced to $775. So you can see with each subsequent expansion of the system, the more properties that contribute to the overall use of the system, these costs continue to be reduced year over year. What are the next steps in the project? The sewer district formation for extension 3 would be based upon town board approval and is subject to permissive referendum as well as the comptroller's approval. Following the permissive referendum and comptroller's approval, the town board would then act on bonding for the project. The maximum amount of bonding would be as identified in the map plan report. There would be design development, including easement acquisitions. Once the design is completed, there would be an entitlement process, receiving all the regulatory approvals necessary to support construction. Once those are realized, then the project would be placed out to bid and then constructed and then commissioned once completed. And that summarized the elements that are included in the map plan report, which I believe was attached to the agenda tonight. And I can answer any questions that the board or anybody in the office, our town hall would have. And I'm gonna stop share and return the screen.
So at this time, do we have anyone, let's start with the public, anyone listed, Diane, did anyone?
There's 3 there with those last numbers, but I don't know who they are.
Is anyone that would like, if anyone would like to speak on the public hearing?
Hey, Dana, this is Jack. I have no comment.
Anyone else? All right, let's turn it over to the board members. Any of the board members have any questions? Mr. Guidarelli, Ms. Miller Herrera?
No, I'm all set.
Yep, I'm good.
Questions, Steve?
Steve? No?
No questions.
No. Mr. Christou? No?
Nope.
Okay, the one thing I'd say, Joe, really not a question, it's more of a comment. So the EDU calculation that you have there when you refer to vacant parcels, and when you look at the map of those areas and the extensions in particular, there's a lot of underdeveloped property there. So, the other realistic thing to know is that those costs for the extensions, also 3A, 3B, with more development there, would further reduce those costs, particularly for those 2 extensions, right? Greater than they would for potentially we'll call them the older extensions.
That is correct. So, for example, the one parcel that was rezoned for apartments currently has 1 EDU for 1 parcel, but once the 66 apartment units are approved, you will have 66 EDUs, and that will reduce the cost per EDU in that district. And as you had mentioned, in 3A, there are some larger tracts of land that are primarily undeveloped that would be suitable for development if public sewer was made available, as public water is currently available in that corridor.
All right. Okay. Anyone else for the public hearing one this evening?
Mr. Supervisor, I have a question.
Sure.
And Joe, to you as well. So how much expansion is there down the road? So this is 3A, 3B. Could there be a 4A, 4B? What's the capacity that this has to grow past 3A and 3B?
So along the entire Hamburg Street corridor, each side street was provided with a sanitary sewer stub and a manhole to the adjoining neighborhoods. And there is a potential to expand into the adjoining neighborhoods as well. One of the, I believe it's the Colebrook neighborhood, is an area of specific interest. All of the homes are currently served with individual on-site septic systems that include septic tank and a seepage pit. And there have been reported seepage pit failures where people are digging them up and replacing their seepage pits, and there's probably 3 or 4 per year being replaced in those neighborhoods, and they don't last very long. The parcels are very small, so there's not a lot of locations for them to reposition those seepage pits, and those neighborhoods may be eligible for community development block grant funding. So that is something that we would, encourage the town to further investigate, because there would be funding assistance for addressing the extensions of sewers into those neighborhoods. And concurrently, those neighborhoods have aging water system infrastructure. So potentially, community development block grant funds that could not only support extensions of the sanitary sewers into those neighborhoods, but replace the aging water line infrastructure with, modern piping.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Isn't that terrible? I was speaking and no one can hear me. That's awful. But so regarding the water system in that particular neighborhood there, I don't recollect off the top of my head how many valves there are there, but I can tell you that there are not many. So when there is a water break in that neighborhood, it's a problem, because you're shutting down not just potentially a street, you could shut down the entire area. So, you know, when it comes to the infrastructure pieces that we discuss here, it's not to frighten residents or to have people think, you know, that these are insurmountable challenges. They're not. At some point, they have to be addressed, and I think that it's important for us as a town to let the public know what we're doing, obviously, but more importantly, let them know where the pitfalls are out there for you know, for them. And you know, a lot of the other parts of the community where you know, I'll say it, you know, where we have had major water breaks. So, you know, you take the main line, the main distribution line. When that goes down, sometimes we have difficulty finding how to shut everything down, right? So imagine if you didn't have any valves anywhere. Now what do? We would have great difficulty providing water to an entire neighborhood potentially. So what Mr. Lanero is referring to are discussions that we've had here at the town for, I can tell you that I can recall back probably 15 years ago or more that these problems, if you will, have been known. And, you know, obviously the further we push them out, the worse it will become from a cost perspective and also just from a, you know, potential for safety for all of us. So I think we have to address all of these issues, and we do actively look for grant funding. And so with the sewer district extensions, we'll be looking for grant funding there, but we will look very, very heavily for water infrastructure grants as well. And we've been successful there with what we've already achieved in the past few years. So hopefully we'll be able to duplicate that in the future. And so, so thank you very much. You know, we want to avert the disasters before they happen. Be prepared. So moving on, I guess, anyone else for public hearing one?
Steve, I don't know who the 780 and the 325 numbers are.
They can you know, they can unmute themselves if they have anything to say. Anyone else for public hearing one?
Mr. Supervisor, just back to the capacity question that Mr. Garelli mentioned before. This all still is tying into the city, correct?
Yes.
So there's potential for some growth here.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
So this is not putting any burden on, this is putting zero burden, for the record, this is putting zero burden on our sewer treatment plant.
That's correct. So just very briefly go back to that topic. You know, as you look at the topography of the town, where the sewer lines are, what runs where, this entire area will be going to the sewer infrastructure or sewer plant in the city of Schenectady. And that's great for us because we're not building additional capacity at sewer 2. But more importantly, we made an educated and in my opinion, and a great decision in making improvements to our existing sewer plant on Campbell Road, which is we know is sewer 2. And we did that purposefully to ensure that we have growth in the western part of our town. And we'll continue to make improvements to that plant and also look for expansion of that plant, I would think, in the near future, because it's going to happen and we need to be prepared for it. Again, so just to reiterate what Mr. Christou said, this these connections or these extensions do go to the city of Schenectady. And again, topography has a big play in this. You know, it's not just cost of being able to hook into our sewer plant and make improvements at our sewer plant. It's also, God bless you. It's also an issue of topography, you know, where things can naturally go, which obviously will cost less. And in this instance, that's what we found with working with the city of Schenectady. We're very, you know, happy that we have this relationship with them and be able to make improvements to our community, which also, you know, will help us to grow create more jobs and have more places for people to live in our eastern part of our town. So we're happy with that. Anyone else for public hearing one?
Mr. Supervisor, I have a follow-up question.
Sure.
Joe, so based on, well, not based on, 3A, we have annual costs, $1,434 for the EDUs on 3A, and I thought you said there were 60-some potential EDUs there?
Yeah, so
And then 3B was 1225. So what is the potential to add and I guess relieve the burden of that number on 3A? I guess that was more my question, because I see the other ones, you know, they're getting some relief of burden with this going on. So what is the potential for relief to 3A and 3B with future growth, I guess, specifically?
So in 3A, we included, there's a couple of very large parcels of land that are undeveloped. So as those larger parcels have access to municipal water and municipal sewer, they have the ability to increase the number of EDUs in that extension 3A. And as the number of EDUs in the district increases, the principal and interest payment associated with that will go down.
And that has to do with the other districts too, as well, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So
all right.
As more EDUs get added, they benefit all of, you know, so like District 7, the underlying district, we started out with like $950 an EDU. And because of Extension 1 and Extension 2 and Extension 3, that cost is now reduced significantly. It's, I think I included it in here. Let me just
Yeah, I
find
think
it.
it's like 4, I think, right?
Yeah, so it's down.
Yeah, 450. Yeah. Okay.
452. So it, you know, it basically, within just a few years and a couple of extensions, we already cut the price in half of what people pay per EDU per year. And I think that those opportunities will continue to be realized as some of the properties in the extensions get redeveloped. Because one of the things that can happen is once the property no longer needs to have large septic systems that are not working well, encumbering their property, they can, and they're connected to the sanitary sewer system, they have the ability to expand on that property without having conflict with on-site septic systems and on-site stormwater management practices. So you'll potentially see an extension 2 and an extension 3A and B, you know, redevelopment opportunities where there'll be increased benefit units, and that'll help reduce the cost to all of the parties to the District 7 infrastructure.
Okay.
I would
Thank you.
just clarify one thing, Joe, and then that would just be that you did condition the change of zone upon the 66 units, potential units hooking into the sewer 7 extension 3 when it's available. So it doesn't go across, I think someone mentioned it, you know, within the districts, there's just one district, it's sewer district 7. And then
right. All the, yeah.
the extensions within the district. And so someone within an extension is utilizing a resource that has previously been built under the underlying district, right, which is 7, then that's how it's reduced. So the Office of State Comptroller initially approved that district to be constructed because it was well over the threshold. The threshold was, I want to say $908, and you constructed it at $1,204 was the projected cost, and then it's approximately $700 now. And that's just with the small extensions, you know, that you've done with respect to sewer 7 extension 1, and now with you'll see more with extension 2.
Yes.
So in terms of the map plan and report, you know, that will likely change over the course of time prior to the construction of it. There may have to be some instances where you go back and you recalculate operation and maintenance, or you recalculate other types of numbers. So I would be expecting the board would likely see that as we wear more into 2020. You know, Joe did a great job making the application to the EFC, and you awarded that $535,000, which obviously is leading to a reduction across the district. as a-
Right. That's 7. Yep. Okay. Thank you, Kate.
Anyone else like to be heard on public hearing 1 at this time? Anyone else like to be heard on public hearing 1 at this time? Anyone else like to be heard on public hearing 1 at this time? Okay, we'll declare public hearing 1 closed and move to public comment privilege of the floor. Is there anyone that would like to be heard under public comment privilege of the floor? If, just like to let you know that you have 4 minutes to present to the board, and I'll time you, and if you do get past 4 minutes, we get to 3 minutes, I'll put my hand up one time, the first time, and then if we get towards the 4-minute mark and get to the 4-minute mark, I'll put my hand up again and ask that, if you're not finished, just to wrap up your comments in a few seconds. We'll move on to the next speaker. So, do we have anyone under public comment privilege of the floor this evening? Anyone under public comment privilege of the floor? Okay, anyone under public comment privilege of the floor? Okay, let's move after we get to the resolutions then, if we could. Ms. Marco, would you read resolution 15720?
Amend the Town of Rotterdam 2020 meeting schedule to include a town board meeting on June 10th, 2020.
Okay. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
A motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Oh,
Second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question? Okay, on the question, I'd just like to say the reason we're adding the meeting is frankly because there's a lot of business to conduct here with the situation here those last few months. There's business that has to move ahead a little more expeditiously here because of the pause and shutdowns, if you will, in different businesses, and we want to get more just stay active and get more business complete. So we have a motion by Mr. Christou, a second by Mr. Signor. Mr. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou,
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli,
yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
yes,
Mr. Signor,
Yes.
Mr. Tomazone.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 15720 passes. Resolution 15820.
Call for public hearing to be held on Wednesday, June 10th, 2020 at 7 p.m. The public hearing is open to the public and persons may attend telephonically. Members of the public may listen to and/or speak at the public hearing by dialing 1-929-205-6099, then entering the conference ID number 867-0373-0307, followed by the pound symbol. The public hearing will be held electronically via a video conference for the town board and a conference call for all members of the public for the following purpose: to allow for proposed 2-lot subdivision by Gary DeCoco on a plus or minus 24,834 square foot parcel located in the Aquifer Overlay District on tax map number 20.5-7-46.1, 5 Lock Street, Rotterdam Junction, New York, 12150. Applicant is requesting a 2-lot subdivision. Lot 1 equals plus or minus 12,342 square feet with proposed single-family resident, and Lot 2 equals plus or minus 12,492 square feet with proposed single-family residence.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Gitterelli. Is there a second,
I'll
please?
second the motion.
Second by Mr. Christou. Okay, anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou,
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
yes,
Mr. Signor,
Yes.
and Mr. Tomazone.
Yes.
5 yes.
The resolution 15820 passes. Resolution 15920.
Adopt the negative declaration dated May 27th, 2020 to allow for a change of zone request from Alan Kuhn Enterprises, Inc. for a property located at 205 Central Avenue, Schenectady, New York, 12304, known as tax map number 59.7-9-7.1.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
yes,
Mr. Signor,
yes,
and Mr. Thomasone.
Yes.
5 yes.
The resolution 15920 passes. Resolution 16020.
Adopt local law number 7 of the year 2020 for the following purpose: to allow for a change of zone request from Alcoon Enterprises, Inc. for a property located at 205 Central Avenue, Schenectady, New York, 12304, known as tax map number 59.7-9-7.1. The applicant is requesting a change of zone from an R1 single-family residential to B1 retail business on a plus or minus 0.22 acres for the construction of a 2,025 square foot garage as an addition to a business on an adjacent lot. Public hearings called for at the town board meeting of April 22nd, 2020. The public hearing was held at the town board meeting of May 13, 2020.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Gitterelli. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
yes,
Mr. Signor,
yes,
and Mr. Thomasone.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 16020 passes. Resolution 16120.
The town board of the town of Rotterdam recommends that Governor Cuomo and the New York State Legislature consider enacting an early retirement incentive for members of the New York State and local retirement system and the police and fire retirement system that would be implemented this fiscal year.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
A motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
second,
Okay, second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question? So just very, very briefly, this resolution mirrors a resolution that was passed by Schenectady County and several other municipalities and county governments recently, and with not just the COVID-19 pandemic, but more importantly, we have had a decrease in revenues, and those revenues are not just sales tax. I'm hoping that will rebound a little bit later in the year, but at the same time, we do have a need for. We're going to enter some negotiations this year with our bargaining units, and my hope is that the governor and the legislature in particular is able to come up with an agreement that is amenable to the governor, and we can move ahead and also offer hopefully the same incentive and allow some of our employees the ability to retire and enjoy their retirement, and we can get our budget in better balance, if you will, for 2021 in particular. So I appreciate the motions, and anyone else on the question? Okay, Ms. Mark, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
yes,
Mr. Signor,
yes,
and Mr. Thomasone.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 16120 passes. Resolution 16220.
The town board of the town of Rotterdam hereby extends the existing suspension of sewer connection fees contained in the schedule of fees in effect for sewer district 7 and any district extension of sewer district 7 until June 1st, 2025.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
second,
Okay, we have a second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question?
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor, can you elaborate on this a bit, please?
Sure. So in our schedule of fees, and this was brought in to us, if you will, was we voted on a similar resolution in the past, but more importantly, the cost of these extensions no different than what we had, and board members, if I remember right, and so correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I think it was Ms. Miller Herrera and Mr. Christou that brought this to the floor some time ago to have a reduction, if you will, or an abatement of these fees in order to get more people to hook in with the cost that people may bear of debt service and operation and maintenance costs for this area of our community to afford them, some relief. So that's what this would do, is continue that and be in a position where we would have those extensions coming in and people hooked into this sewer system and not have to have an additional cost, because again, the debt service alone is high, as you're aware.
Yeah, so we're giving the people a break. So instead of paying $500 or up to $1,000 commercially, if it's new connection, it's $750 for 3 bedrooms or less. We're waiving those fees in order to incentivize people to hook up.
Yeah, okay.
And
Thank you.
It's just for that. So just to be clear, it's just for that area.
Yeah, yes.
Right. Anyone else on the question 16220? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Gittarelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Signor,
Yes.
Mr. Tomazone.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 16220 passes. Resolution 16320.
Call for public hearing to be held on Wednesday, June 10th, 2020 at 7 p.m. The public hearing is open to the public and persons may attend telephonically. Members of the public may listen to and or speak at the public hearing by dialing 1-929-205-6099, then entering the conference ID number 867-0373-0307, followed by the pound symbol. The public hearing will be held electronically via a video conference for the town board and a conference call for all members of the public for the following purpose: to amend Chapter 130 Fire and Fire Prevention to repeal sections of the code of the town of Rotterdam rendered absolute by the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code of the state of New York.
Okay, so may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
A motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Gittarelli?
Mhm.
Was it Gittarelli? Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't hear clearly. I apologize. All right, thank you. Okay, anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Gittarelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Signor,
Yes.
and Mr. Tomazone.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 16320 passes. Resolution 16420.
The town board of the town of Rotterdam hereby declares and establishes its municipal real property located at 1220 Main Street, Rotterdam Junction, New York, 12150, as a public park pursuant to New York State Town Law, Section 220, Subpart 3. This resolution shall be subject to permissive referendum.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
A motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Mr. Signor. Okay, anyone on the question? Okay, Kate, if you don't mind giving us a quick description here of 16420 as far as what this means from the permissive referendum.
Sub 3 of the town law allows you to engage property for municipal purposes. And so when you expend taxpayer funds in certain methods, there are portions of the town law that require that they be subject to permissive referendum. So an example of that would be, the creation of a sewer district. And so here you're creating a public park from a piece of property previously purchased, which was your intent at the time. Due to the fact that there was a wide variety of environmental issues on the property, you waited until those abatements had occurred before dedicating it as parkland. And so at this point, this resolution allows you to make it a public park, aka parkland. A plat gets created and subsequently filed with the town clerk, and it becomes public land for the purposes of use as a park. People have the right, obviously, with a permissive referendum to oppose that. Obviously, I don't know why anyone would given the fact that it's been a piece of property that had oil tanks in the ground. And so it's essentially returning once, you know, at one time it was a viable business and then it wasn't, you know, and so you're just returning it as green space, which you need in the junction.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Supervisor,
Question, go ahead. I'm sorry.
there was, in speaking to the proprietor of the bar right next to this parkland, there were some drainage issues. Does declaring it a park affect us in any way to make those corrections on that property?
No, not at all. And so where we are with that is that our water wells are right behind this parcel on Main Street for Water District 3. We are putting in a redundant line there. So as soon as our, I don't know if they're waiting for more parts, if you will, or anything, but once we get that redundant line placed in, then that property will get regraded. So hopefully those problems will be eliminated that they're having there. So that's where we're going. I mean, it's going to be green. You know, it's all, we're not paving anything there. It's all going to be green space. So hopefully it'll be fine.
So declaring it a park doesn't restrict our movement as far as, you know, making sure that the drainage is not going onto neighbors' properties or anything like that.
No, and more importantly, you know, if you in that particular area, there's a few spots that I can think of. But anyway, you know, 5S is higher than the properties over there, so that's really a lot of the issue in that particular area. But no, we'll do whatever we can to remedy that situation. If that case is something that we have to do as they go in to regrade that property. So we're not done there. Not done by any stretch.
I would just note that by declaring it parkland, it also makes it eligible for parkland funds for development that's occurred close to that area or within that area, where money has been expended because the developer has chosen not to create parkland or set aside green space within their development. So actually by declaring it parkland, it increases the quantity that you have to use in order to, you know, beautify the green space essentially.
Very good.
Thank you. So, all right, let's, anyone else on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Gittarelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Signor,
Yes.
and Mr. Thomason.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, so resolution 16420 passes. Resolutions 165 and 16620 under consent agenda. I'm sorry, and 16720 under consent agenda. Have a motion, please.
Mr. Supervisor, I make a motion that we approve 16520, 16620, and 16720 as a consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Christie. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Gittarelli. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Unless
anyone?
Steve.
Yep. No. Okay. All right. Anyone on the question regarding 165, 166, or 16720? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll for those resolutions, please?
Mr. Christo,
Yes.
Mr. Gittarelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera,
Yes.
Mr. Signor,
Yes.
and Mr. Thomason.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, so resolutions 165, 166, and 16720 pass. Okay, does anyone have anything this evening under committee reports or miscellaneous? Okay, so I guess in closing here, before someone says I make a motion for adjournment, I'd just like to say, just ask the public to please stay apprised of what's going on in our town through these meetings, but also through the town website. Again, you know, forms are available on the town website. We all have voicemail at town hall, so if you call here, someone will get back to you. You know, our email addresses are on the website, so please take advantage of that. And again, we do have some procedures here in order to get involved or get into, you know, to meet with someone here at Town Hall by appointment only, at least for the foreseeable future. Hopefully, we'll be able to dial that back to have the doors wide open soon. But that's the procedure now for the foreseeable future. So please call our Town Hall at 518-7575, and then you can just go through the voicemail process and leave messages and/or hit the extension for the different departments rather than specific extensions if you so desire. But someone will get back to you. But I would ask, email is a great way to get us, because many of us have our phones, or for those people who work for the town who now have access with a laptop and VPN, they can also work from home. So I'm not by any stretch of the imagination saying, call or email anytime during the day or night, we're going to get back to you, but believe me, we'll get back to you. And again, don't hesitate to call us. If in particular, if you see people that are in distress or in need, please use the emergency numbers, and also let us know how it is that we can help if you see a need out there. It's a trying time for everybody, and getting back to normalcy is what we all want. And I want just to commend our employees for everything that they're doing, particularly our essential staff and our police department, EMTs, and everyone who's out there in the highway department, everyone who's responding to residents, and in every department that we have. I want to just thank you for what you've been doing, and please, again, please call upon us if there's a need. So with that, anyone have anything else? I hear a motion for adjournment. I know somebody's thinking it.
I'll make a motion.
I knew it was coming from one of you.
I'll second the motion.
I think it would be you, Mr. Guidarelli, but I'm glad to see that it's you for the.
Had to beat Evan.
Had to beat Evan. So we have a motion by Mr. Guidarelli and a second by Mr. Christou for adjournment. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? I want to thank everyone for attending the meeting tonight. I want to thank Mr. Lanero for his presentation. Look forward to seeing all of you soon in person again. Thanks very much.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.